Hello and welcome to Firstpost Live, where we bring you the day's top 4 stories from across the world. I'm Joshua Barnes, live from the Firstpost studios. Let's begin with the headlines. US lawmakers order the Justice Department to release its files on late sex offender financier Jeffrey Epstein, with the House approving the move 427-1 and the Senate fast-tracking it just days after Trump reversed course under pressure from his own supporters. Romania scrambles fighter jets after another drone crossed into its territory near the Ukraine border, that according to the Defence Ministry, marking the latest airspace violation that has spooked NATO's eastern flank. Reports suggest Japan is poised to restart the world's largest nuclear plant this week, reversing a years-long retreat from atomic power as the resource-poor nation seeks to cut reliance on imported fossil fuels more than a decade after Fukushima. Beijing tells Tokyo it will ban all imports of Japanese seafood, escalating tensions after Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi warned that a Chinese attack on Taiwan threatens Japan's survival, could trigger a military response. And Meta scores a major victory after a US federal judge rejects the government's attempt to unwind its Instagram and WhatsApp acquisitions, handing big tech its first decisive win in the antitrust crackdown launched during Trump's first term. Today, we begin with a powerful display of diplomatic theatre in Washington. President Donald Trump welcomes Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS, with one of the most elaborate ceremonies seen at the White House in recent years. The White House displayed plenty of pomp for the Saudi royal yesterday. The red carpet was rolled out, and an honor guard on horseback led the way, all underscoring the strength and symbolism of the US-Saudi relationship. But behind the ceremonial grandeur was a long list of major agreements. Both nations also finalized deals spanning civilian nuclear cooperation, critical minerals, and artificial intelligence.
Do you expect a formal civil nuclear deal to be reached soon? Can you talk to us about that aspect of today's with Saudi Arabia?
I can see that happening.
A major strategic defense agreement was also signed, reinforcing more than 80 years of security cooperation and what the White House called stronger deterrence across the Middle East. And President Trump formally confirmed US approval for selling F-35 fighter jets to Saudi Arabia, a move he first hinted at a few days ago.
Have a deal. They're going to purchase F-35s. They're buying them from Lockheed, and it's a great plane. We make, by the way, the best military equipment. You saw that during the Iran little skirmish. We make the best planes, the best missiles. We make the best offensive missiles. We make the best military equipment in the world.
The issue of Saudi Arabia joining the Abraham Accords was also brought up during the meeting. The Abraham Accords are a series of agreements signed in 2020 that normalized relations between Israel and several Arab nations. Crown Prince MBS signaled his willingness to join the accords, but only if it provides a clear path for a Palestinian state.
We believe having a good relation with all Middle Eastern countries is a good thing, and we want to be part of the Abraham Accord, but we want also to be sure that we secure a clear path of two-state solution. And today we have a healthy discussion with Mr. President that we're going to work on that to be sure that we can prepare the right situation as soon as possible to have that.
And on the commercial side, Washington said that Riyadh will purchase nearly 300 American tanks as part of the expanding partnership. Later, a lavish East Room dinner, President Donald Trump went a step further, designating Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally.
So that's why tonight I'm pleased to announce that we're taking our military cooperation to even greater heights by formally designating Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally, which is something that is very important to them. And I'm just telling you now for the first time because I wanted to keep a little secret for tonight.
This visit also carried historic weight. It was Mohammed bin Salman's first trip to the White House since the Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi was murdered inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul in 2018. A few years later, the US intelligence said the Crown Prince likely approved the killing. Reporters pressed him on the case, as well as on the role Saudi citizens played in the 9/11 attacks. However, President Trump abruptly shut down the line of questioning, calling Khashoggi extremely controversial and saying that things happen, insisting the Crown Prince knew nothing about it.
Somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen, but he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
And the day ended with another announcement. President Trump said that MBS might increase Saudi's financial commitments in the United States from the previously stated $600 billion to $1 trillion.
And I want to thank you because you've agreed to invest $600 billion into the United States. And because he's my friend, he might make it $1 trillion, but I'm going to have to work on him. But it's 600. We can count on 600 billion, but that number could go up a little bit higher. Yes, sir. I don't know. We'll see.
And the guest list at the dinner reflected that focus, with tech leaders such as Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang, Elon Musk and Tim Cook in attendance, alongside high-profile sports figures like Bryson DeChambeau and the football star Cristiano Ronaldo. Musk's appearance was also notable. This is his first public appearance at the White House since a rift with President Trump earlier this year. And with that, the White House's high-stakes, high-glamour diplomatic showcase came to a close, setting the stage for what could be one of the most consequential partnerships shaping West Asia and beyond. Our next story comes from London. Britain's intelligence agency MI5 has issued a new alert to members of Parliament, warning that operatives linked to China's Ministry of State Security have been posing as headhunters and recruiters, using professional network sites to make contact with people working in and around Parliament. The espionage alert, circulated by the speakers of both houses, says Chinese state-affiliated individuals have been approaching lawmakers and staff at scale, often through LinkedIn profiles that appear to represent legitimate companies. MI5 says these approaches aim to gather sensitive information and shape political activity in the UK.
Our intelligence agencies have warned that China is attempting to recruit and cultivate individuals with access to sensitive information about Parliament and the UK government. MI5 have stated that this activity is being carried out by a group of Chinese intelligence officers, often masked through the use of cover companies or external headhunters.
Security Minister Dan Jarvis also told the Parliament that the warning points to a covert, calculated attempt by a foreign government to interfere in the country's political process. He added that Britain will launch a new counter-espionage plan to address the threat.
Let me speak plainly. This activity involves a covert and calculated attempt by a foreign power to interfere with our sovereign affairs in favour of its own interests, and this government will not tolerate it.
The warning comes just weeks after a high-profile espionage case collapsed. Prosecutors dropped charges against two British nationals accused of passing information to Beijing, saying the government had not provided the evidence required to classify China as a legal enemy under the Official Secrets Act. Prime Minister Keir Starmer rejected claims that he was downplaying security concerns, pointing out that definitions used in the case were put in place by the previous government. The Chinese embassy in London dismissed the allegations, calling the claims fabricated and accusing the UK of damaging bilateral relations. The controversy has intensified debate over how the UK should manage its security while maintaining economic ties with China. And it comes just as the government prepares to decide whether to approve a new Chinese embassy complex in London, a proposal some critics say could carry additional security risks. In a separate update last month, MI5 also revealed that fake job advertisements had been used online to try to lure British professionals into sharing confidential information. As the UK confronts a rise in alleged espionage activity, the government and security services say they are working to strengthen safeguards around Parliament to ensure foreign interference is detected and disrupted before it takes hold. Shifting focus now to India. A major deportation operation from the US has just finished its final stretch. The United States deportation flight carrying 200 Indian nationals has landed in New Delhi. Among those on board include Gangster Anmol Bishnoi, 2 fugitives wanted in Punjab state, and 197 undocumented migrants. For Indian agencies, this is a long-awaited moment because Anmol Bishnoi is not just another deportee. He is the younger brother of jailed gang leader Lawrence Bishnoi, and he is wanted in multiple high-profile cases across India. Among them, the killing of popular singer Sidhu Moosewala in May 2022, the April 2024 firing outside actor Salman Khan's Mumbai home, and the murder of former Maharashtra Minister Baba Siddique in October of last year. These cases that sent shockwaves across India, in which investigators say Anmol played a key role. But Anmol has been on the run for years. Reports say he slipped out of India in April 2022 using a forged passport. He left the country weeks before singer Sidhu Moosewala was shot dead in Punjab. Once abroad, he reportedly switched identities, using fraudulent Russian documents and moving between the United States and Canada, and stayed off the radar. Investigators say he continued to run gang operations remotely, using encrypted communication channels to give instructions. But his luck ran out last year. He was traced in California by US immigration authorities, detained and then placed under an ankle monitor. US authorities kept him under watch while his deportation process moved forward, and the final leg of that process began in Louisiana, from where the deportation flight took off. The Indian government was kept informed, coordination between agencies was tight, and today the extradition has finally happened. Meanwhile, the family of the late Baba Siddique kept pushing for updates. His son confirmed that he received an email marking Anmol as removed from US soil. The family had registered as victim contacts, a status that ensures official communication from American authorities.
To the society, he was named in my father's murder as well. In Salman Bhai's case also, his name has been arising frequently. It's very important for us to know who has asked Onboard Bishnoi to do this.
Meanwhile, Anmol's brother, Lawrence Bishnoi, remains lodged at Sabarmati Central Jail in Gujarat. He is the leader of a network that investigators describe as a mix of gangland operations, extortion routes, and hired hit networks stretching across states. The deportation marks a major win for Indian agencies, opening the door for swift action in several high-profile criminal cases. And for our last story, we head to southwestern Japan. A massive blaze has engulfed large parts of Oita City. Hundreds of firefighters and army helicopters have been battling the flames as it tore through a residential neighborhood, forcing widespread evacuations. According to officials, this is Japan's biggest fire in nearly 50 years. Visuals from the scene captured skies painted in orange hues as thick black smoke filled the air. Aerial shots showed entire clusters of homes reduced to rubble, with smoke billowing across the hilly town. Large swathes of land were seen blanketed under dense grey smoke. The fire started on Tuesday evening during strong winds near a fishing port in Oita City's district of Kyushu Island. The wind then pushed the flames uphill into nearby forested areas, causing the blaze to rapidly expand over 48,000 square metres. Authorities are yet to ascertain how the fire started to begin with, but around 175 residents from a coastal neighbourhood of Oita City, nearly 700 kilometres southwest of Tokyo, fled to emergency shelters after the blaze broke out. More than 170 homes were damaged or destroyed as the fire swept through residential areas. At least one person died, and about 270 households were left without electricity as the flames show no sign of stopping. Dozens of fire engines and more than 200 firefighters were mobilised as crews struggled against strong winds. 2 army helicopters from the Ground Self-Defence Force joined the rescue operation, continuing water dropping runs. Evacuation efforts continued through the night as the fire raged on nearly 20 hours after it began. Residents described fleeing in minutes, saying the fire spread in the blink of an eye. Let's listen in.
I heard the fire engines coming one after another. When I opened the window, the area was engulfed by the fire. With the sound of all those fire trucks coming one after another, I thought, what's going on? When I looked out from the second floor window, the flames were already raging.
Prime Minister Sane Takaichi expressed sympathy for those affected and pledged to provide maximum support. As of this morning, officials say the fire is still not contained, and teams are working to bring the flames under control and assess the damage in Oita's devastated neighbourhood. We'll keep tracking updates for you. That's all we have on the show for today. We will see you again tomorrow at the same time. Until then, thank you for watching.